Welcome back to the Takeout. It's been a while, but you very well might remember the Tennessee Three, lawmakers who gained national attention in 2023 after leading a gun safety protest on the floor of the General Assembly after a school shooting, a mass school shooting. One of them was Justin Pearson, briefly expelled from his legislative seat over that matter. Now, he's launched a bid to unseat 76-year-old Democratic Congressman Steve Cohen, arguing the Democratic Party needs new voices and perspectives. So, Tennessee Democratic State Representative and now congressional candidate Justin Pearson joins me now. It's good to talk to you, sir. I appreciate the time. When you announced, you said the job of a congressman is not only to send out press releases and letters, but organize resistance against the authoritarianism we are seeing. First of all, do you believe that that's what Steve Cohen only does, send out press releases and letters?
I think we have a responsibility to expect more from people who are in Congress. And at this point in time, that expectation and that bar has to be raised to meet this moment. The reality is we have a wannabe dictator in the White House. We are seeing an increase in authoritarianism and the takeover of Democratic-led, predominantly Black majority cities, and the pushing of the bounds of our Constitution in ways that we have not seen in an unprecedented fashion, even for the first Trump administration. And so we have a responsibility to speak up, to stand up, and to fight back against what's happening.
What does that resistance look like that isn't manifesting itself now?
Right now, what we have to do is organize. It's important that we take and make sure folks are voting yes and no on the bills that we need, holding the line as we're seeing to preserve people's health care. But it's also making sure that the constituents who are in our communities are supported, are being heard, and are really serving and having a servant leader who is a conduit for power for them. And so more empowering of the community, more organizing of different groups that are on the ground doing the work of preserving the people's voice and the people's rights, and using the position, the influence, the access to make our lives better.
As we're speaking, the president is in the White House now telling the assembled media that the National Guard deployment in Memphis has been a huge success, and the federalization of law enforcement there has been a huge crime-fighting success. How do you assess what has happened in Memphis?
Yeah, what the president has done is treat our city as a political pawn in his game of being and becoming more powerful and wielding more power in the executive branch. And that's deeply concerning to me. We've had the National Guards folks there for just a few days, and that's been illegal and unconstitutional because our Constitution of Tennessee states very clearly that the governor only has the authority to use the National Guard in cases of invasion and rebellion. And if the legislature, which I serve in, gives him the authority to do so, he's acting completely out of those bounds. Nearly $1 million is assumed is being spent every single day, and none of it is addressing poverty. None of it is addressing the root causes of the problems that we are seeing. And most of what these federal agents are doing is stopping people for broken tail lights and for registration. And the numbers are being conflated. Our Memphis Police Department numbers are also being included in what this federal task force is doing. And so we just need to be eyes wide open with what's happening.
Is Steve Cohen, from your perspective, a mediocrity?
I believe Steve Cohen has done the best that he could over these last 50 years that he's been in elected office. And we have to meet a new moment, a moment that we have not seen before. And that's going to require new energy. That's going to require new perspective. And that's going to require momentum to help us to fight back against what we are seeing, as well as to build power in ways that we have not yet. It isn't that it's an indictment necessarily on the past and on its decades of service, but it is a recognition that if we are going to preserve what we know we need to preserve and do the work that we need to do, it is going to require a new vision, it's going to require new leadership, and it's going to require new energy.
When you announced, Congressman Cohen called you an ambitious young candidate, quote, and he said, this time of testing requires experience and institutional knowledge. How did both of those statements land with you?
I mean, we have to look at where we are in District 9. 1 out of 5 people are living underneath the poverty line. 37% of our kids are living underneath the poverty line. Half of our kids aren't reading on grade level. We have some things that we really do need to work on. Simultaneously, Memphis, Shelby County, District 9 is one of the best places on the planet to live in, for sure. But we have to deal with what led us to this status quo. And what has led us to this point has been going along to get along and not really critiquing the system and how we can actually improve it. And I think in this moment in time, we have to look at where we are and decide, do we want to keep going in this direction or do we want to go in a new direction?
Is that a critique of the Democratic Party or the overall system in our country?
I think it's a critique of the overall system in our country. Look, the bitter ways that people are talking to each other, the meanness that we've seen even in our state legislature, all of that trickles down into how people are interacting with one another. And in this moment in time, we need unity. We need to recognize that there are three branches of government, and we need to accept that we have to have different voices that are bringing a new perspective into the conversation because costs are too high for everybody. Access to healthcare is too low. Educational opportunity is too sparse. Veterans aren't getting the resources that they need. And that's what's happening now because of the things that have happened in the past. And so if we're going to fix those things, we can't keep doing what we did in the past.
State Representative Justin Pearson, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Major Garrett.